Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Work Smart. I'm your host, Josef Katz, here again with Kettle co-founder Dan Rosenzweig. Dan, how are you today?
A little chilly. The temp has been dropping of late, but it's winter, so if there's ever a time for it to be cold, now is it.
Today is the winter solstice, actually, so perfect. There you go.
That's right. Shortest day of the year.
Fast Company had an article out earlier this week about a survey they conducted, and I want to chat a little bit about that as it relates to the future of work. But I'll lead into that with some thoughts. So I worked in HR tech for a while, and a lot of the companies we worked with had some similar concerns about hiring. You know, there was a candidate experience, making sure people who are interviewing and going through that process have a positive experience. Next would be the onboarding experience, followed by keeping them engaged, and then ultimately retaining them for long periods of time. So this Fast Company article started with 3 statements. So I'm just going to read them to you, and then let's dive into it.
Sounds good.
Or I may paraphrase them. So I know my best people are and will have plans to keep them engaged while ensuring their continued growth. I'm delighted with our talent brand and the ability to attract the best people. And I'm proud of how we hire and onboard people into our business and maintain high retention that enable our employees to do their best work. So those 3 statements kind of hit on all 4 of those key points. And I think it all segued in this article into how this all applies in the world of hybrid work. So Dan, what do you think about those ideas and the future of work, and how should companies address them?
Completely. So new challenges, right? Not a huge surprise. Of 6,000, after running some large polls with over 6,000 employees, they found that flexibility is a top priority amongst folks. And what does that mean? It means that they enjoy working from home, and they want access to work from home. If they are not allowed to do that in a knowledge-based work environment, then they are going to look for another job. Not a huge surprise. We've been working from home for almost 2 years now. To deny that we have been productive or force us back to the office is to say that we haven't accomplished enough over the two-year period. And the truth is, corporate earnings are actually up, and a lot of businesses have been very successful over that period of time. So now let's talk about talent. I think that's the most important thing here. If you're going to allow people to work remotely, which is a thing that your employees are asking you for and top talent is asking for, some of the folks who come and join your team aren't necessarily going to live in an area where you have an office. So in order to maintain a high level of employee engagement, the onboarding process is going to need to evolve, and it can't necessarily require someone's physical presence as it used to. And so it's very important for HR departments and people departments to evolve their onboarding processes, to champion those that are not necessarily physically even in the same time zone as those folks who are also on the team.
I spoke recently with a HR leader, and onboarding was their main concern. They know that if you onboard a team member correctly, they will be more effective, stay with you longer.
Correct.
Versus onboarding a team member in a haphazard way, which for good or for bad may be the case for a lot of companies because they haven't figured out how to do it in this world we're living in. But that was definitely something that they hit home on, like that onboarding experience.
Completely. Well, think about, what does onboarding mean, right? It's kind of like a strange term, right? Onboarding, it's literally, I think, from like you getting onto a boat or ship of some kind, right? Historically speaking. But onboarding is the process of getting people up to speed on what their role is and having them feel comfortable so that they can execute on their own within the company, right? And so there's a few pieces there. There's helping create connections between them and their colleagues, right? So those relationships, so they know who to go to for what when they need it, right? That's huge, because if they don't know those answers, then they're going to need their hand held much longer. They're going to be less effective. They're going to create blocks throughout the organization. And then the other piece of that, the other upside, is that once they build those relationships, those are the sticky points that keep people in a role, right? So it's not a huge surprise that of how important onboarding is, right? the success of any one employee is largely going to be determined over their success in the onboarding process, right? The first, call it 60 to 90 days of their time within an organization. And then the final piece here is around retention, right? Which is people who feel like they're part of a culture. And then one point they also mentioned in the organization in this article is that they feel like their values are aligned with, right? So I, as a person, am aligned with the values of this organization. And it means not just talk is cheap saying like, oh, here are our values. It means living them every single day, right?
Yeah.
Putting the customer first, being honorable people, right? So that people can trust what we're doing without necessarily needing to be watched all day, right? Those are the types of things that your employees, they're smart. They can figure it out. And if they don't trust that their colleagues are doing it, that management is doing that, then it's going to be a broken system. It's going to ripple downhill, and you're going to have a real talent retention problem.
Yeah, so I think getting the right tools in place is key for any company. Kettle obviously has maybe not obvious to everyone listening, but for us, it's obvious. It has a tool to allow companies to manage this flexibility and create those connections and do all those things that will help you retain, attract, engage, all that good stuff, employees into the future in the world as the world continues to evolve, the workplace and the future of work. So if anyone's interested, they can get in touch with Dan at dan@kettlespace.com, Joseph at kettlespace.com. The team is hello@kettlespace.com. Anyone would be happy to give you a demo, answer questions, and show you what it's all about.
Yep.
Dan?
We're here to make hybrid work a strength of yours. So if you're not feeling like that's an area you can flex your muscle and attract talent with, come talk to us. We are here to help.
Appreciate your time and insights, Dan. We'll speak to you again soon.
Can't wait. Happy holidays.